Well, the Bank of Canada finally did it. The bank has lowered its interest rate 0.25%. This morning, June 5th, 2024, the Bank of Canada finally offered us its very first rate decrease since it started increasing rates in early 2022. We do know that the Bank of Canada increased rates in 2022 as a direct result of the inflation that was kind of spiraling out of control after the initial COVID shutdowns. We saw the inflation rate hit its peak in early 2022, right about the same time that the Bank of Canada started to increase its interest rate. But it has been a much longer journey back to 2% than we ever anticipated. We are getting close there. If you look at the screen right now, that blue line is the inflation line. The red line is the Bank of Canada's interest rate. There's a lot of reason to believe that our inflation rate will settle in and around that 2% mark. And so now the Bank of Canada is confident that it can start to decrease its interest rate. Today's interest rate announcement doesn't change anything if you have a fixed interest rate. It doesn't change anything for the fixed interest rate pre-approvals that we have in place. It's unlikely that the 3, 4, or 5-year fixed interest rates are going to change anything as a result of today's announcement. But this is the first of hopefully several rate announcements from the Bank of Canada where we're going to see 1 to 2% in interest rate decreases over the coming year or two. If you have a variable interest rate mortgage, you can expect a small decrease in your mortgage payment as a result of today's interest rate decrease. And hopefully, as we see more of these, you'll continue to see additional interest rate payment decreases on your mortgage. You can reasonably expect the next interest rate decrease to be announced in July. After today's announcement came out at 7:45 a.m., there was a press release, and in his opening remarks for that press release, Bank of Canada Governor Tiff Macklem indicated that it's reasonable to expect further cuts to our policy interest rate, even if the bank is taking our interest rate decisions one meeting at a time. So that means they're not promising that it's going to happen on a set schedule. They need to continue to monitor things as they come, but there's a lot of reason for us to expect 3 more interest rate decreases from the Bank of Canada before the end of the year. That would bring its policy rate all the way down to 4%. That would bring the prime rate down from what yesterday was 7.2 all the way down to 6.2, bringing in new variable rate mortgages somewhere around that 5.25% mark by the end of the year. And with additional decreases in 2025, then we're going to start getting closer to something a bit more normal as opposed to this elevated period of high interest rates that we've been seeing. The reason this was able to happen now and didn't have to wait any longer is there is an amount of negative economic data that's been coming out recently. GDP numbers have come in lower than anticipated, even just by a little bit. Employment growth, the bank does point out that although employers are continuing to hire, the total number of people employed is increasing. The rate of that increase is actually slower than the rate of increase of the working age population. A lot of that's going to be the immigration numbers into Canada. So we are welcoming so many people into Canada, which is fantastic, but we're not creating jobs at a rate that's fast enough. Likewise, we're not creating homes at a rate that's fast enough. And that's part of why we're seeing home prices and rent inflation be as big as it is. Additionally, we are looking forward at as low interest rates come in, it's usually going to cause, historically has caused, additional pressure on house prices. So we will likely continue seeing over the next little while interest rate decreases and corresponding increases to prices of homes. If you are thinking that purchasing a home is in your near future, please reach out to us because we can get you a rate lock at today's rates, maybe a 3-year rate at about 5%. If rates do drop further, fantastic. But if we can lock in your house price before values go up much more, that will likely serve you better than waiting another year, seeing house price increases and only a small amount of interest rate savings. So please reach out to me and to my team. We're here to help you out. If you have any other questions, always happy to answer those. Look forward to working with you. Look forward to helping you out. And thanks for listening.